One thing that hurts me, one thing that touches my heart, that kills me, is how the world is working so hard to define Africa. How how every country is putting an effort to carry Africa in their palms, in the palms of their hands. And I bet you it's not going to happen. And I wish, I wish every leader in Africa would listen to this. Africa is considered to be politically inferior continent. And instead, it's supposed to be a global voice. And this is where we are going. Believe me or not, this is where we are going as Africa. Africa is going to be one continent that the world will not be able to do without. Because we will dictate what has to happen. Because we will carry the workforce, we will carry the resources, and we will carry the ideas and the mind and the power to determine the levels and standards and dimensions of progress. We are considered to be politically weak. We are considered to be a subject of other countries. They set agendas for us, as evidenced by the African summits hosted by countries like the US, China, and Russia. Anybody just wakes up to create a Russia Africa summit, China Africa summit, US Africa summit. And this has to stop. African leaders must realize that we must define our own narrative. We must define our own narrative. Of strategic importance. The reason why these countries and continents are coming up with these funny, fancy, useless meetings is because they know who Africa is and they want to get there ahead of us. Global powers are quoting Africa because it is a critical player in the geopolitical and economic affairs. There are things that are not going to be able to happen without Africa's consent. The economic dimension of the world is entirely and purely dependent on Africa. America knows this, and that's why they want to hold us by the tail. Africa is having a growing influence. Talk of the African Union. Recently, it became a permanent member of the G20, giving Africa a seat at the table with the world's major economies. This is a significant step. And Africa also needs to have a unified voice. The African Union, and we applaud this progress, the African Union is increasingly acting as a unified body, advocating for African interests on the world stage. And this is the reality of who Africa is. And the dimensions that we need to take as a continent to reclaim our rightful position is we need to start rejecting the summit culture that positions Africa as a passive recipient of aid and a puppet to other nations. It is important that presidents of Africa, leaders of Africa, kings, prime ministers of Africa must reject this summit culture. Any nation that is interested in Africa must come to Africa and engage us at our African Union meetings or create platforms within here because we own the narrative. We need to foster greater unity among African nations to leverage our collective political and economic power. We are stronger united. I love the concept of synergy. Personally, this is one of my strongest philosophies. Synergy. The strength of the sum total is better than the individual parts. We are stronger as a family. There is need for Africa to unite and foster greater unity among its own people, its own nations, and leverage on its collective power, be it politically or economically. I dream that one day, Africans will not need visas to get into any African country. Africans we may eventually not even need passports because we need we need we need Africa to be united, to focus on what they have and build on what they have to create a powerhouse of a continent. We cannot have a world that is defined by nuclear power ownership. Africa can do the same. But we see America is coming, putting bases in Africa and producing nuclear power on African soil. And Africans are there watching. Leaders are there smiling and hating each other. Africans have to be united and realize that the enemy can only defeat them when they are divided. We need to demand to be treated as an equal partner, not as a subject, and define our own destiny and agenda. We need to learn and invest in doing that. Our young people need to know that Africa is a powerhouse. Our young leaders, our young adults need to know that Africa is a powerhouse. Our political leaders today, our church leaders need to know that Africa is a powerhouse and the potential that Africa holds is irresistible, it's undeniable, it's unstoppable. And that better Africa is going to happen. It is going to happen. Our young people are going to make it happen. We are going to make it happen because it must happen. A better Africa is imminent.